Rula Amin joins us now from Beirut in neighbouring Lebanon, from where she's monitoring events. And Rula, tell us about the events that we've been seeing today. It's been all action so far, hasn't it?
Yes, all action so far, especially in Barzeh. This is inside the capital, Damascus. And activists are saying that starting 7 a.m. in the morning, security forces deployed heavily in that neighborhood, started raiding homes, arresting activists and opposition figures, as well as regular people. Checkpoints had been erected all over the neighborhood, and armored vehicles have been brought in. So the activists there are anticipating even a larger operation by the day's end. In Homs, we also know that the shelling of the Bab Amr neighborhood is continuing. So is the siege of that neighborhood. People are complaining and are appealing for help. They say they have shortages of food, of power, of medical supplies, of power outage, water shortages, and they don't know how to leave. Now, government sources and people who are close to the government say the government is trying to get into Bab Amr. They have given the resident an ultimatum of 48 hours to leave that neighborhood before the security forces go in after the Free Syrian Army fighters who are there confronting the security forces and so far blocking them from entering that neighborhood.
And Rula, other developments coming from the government, lines coming through to us here, that understand President Assad has issued a decree to hold a referendum for a draft resolution later this month, February the 26th.
Yes, February the 26th is the date that the government announced, where the people will have the right to go and vote. It's a referendum on a new constitution. The draft of that constitution was given to President Assad a few days ago by a committee that he formed. Now, we have spoken to some opposition figures inside Syria, and they were saying that they don't want to take part in that referendum since they didn't even take part in drafting it. They think it's not fair, it's not right. If the president is serious about reform, they should have been part of the process of drafting that constitution. Still, that constitution, the draft constitution, is a major step if you look back at the history. For the first time, it will allow for political pluralism in Syria. It will say that the president from now on will be elected. It's not going to be by referendum. And two candidates has to be, at least there has to be two candidates for the presidency. Each term for the president is 7 years. So for Syria, in Syrian terms, in Syrian standard, this is a major step. And the government, what the government is trying to say is that it's working on two parallel tracks. One is that it is proceeding with the reform process. And the second track is that it's confronting armed groups, armed terrorists. And with these terrorists, they're going to deal with them with an iron fist. But these two tracks will not affect each other. This is the government's line. They have been urged by their allies, especially the Russians, to speed up the reform process. Otherwise, they won't be able to protect them much longer.